if I could open up the conversation, what would we say? What are some tips or some guidance or some advice that we would give someone who is struggling with suicidal thoughts and negativity that is just overwhelming them? What could we say to them to maybe steer them away from that mindset?
Well, what I find is, having recently started dealing with a gentleman who was suffering from suicidal ideations, I reached out to him. I was like, I met him online on a Zoom, and something told me to connect with him. So we did connect. I talked to him, and he allowed me into his life. And I told him, I don't have experience dealing with suicide. So the best thing that I could do is to become your friend if you allow me. So we instantly became friends, and I simply asked him, what can I do for you? Because it's easy for us to go into any situation like that thinking we have all the answers, and we may know what someone else should do, but that for me, that's a mistake. I need to know what that individual needs from me, if anything. And and they'll tell you. They'll tell you that oftentimes that you'll find that they're relieved that you care enough to ask them what they want.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't feel seen. They don't feel heard, or like they are important or meaningful to the world or to anyone else. So just asking someone how their day is, genuinely could make a big difference. But I know you were going to add a little bit just now before I jumped in. Eric, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was basically about to say what he said. Yeah, I was just going to say it's very important to not just assume that what everyone wants and needs, but what that person wants and needs, but you have to make sure that you're actually giving them what they want and need.
I like that. And I feel like something else that goes with that too, the wants and needs, is that we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what's going on inside of anyone's mind. We can't see mental illness. We don't know if they're struggling unless you tell somebody if you're struggling, or unless you tell somebody that you're not really having the best day. But that takes a lot of bravery, courage, and vulnerability to be able to say, you know what, I'm not really feeling it today, and I'm struggling. But that's the biggest piece that we're missing. And once we know that someone's struggling and they need help, then we can provide some type of help. Maybe it's just a listening ear. Maybe it's some guidance to some professional or clinical help. Maybe it's just taking a walk with that person and debriefing and calming down and talking things out, because not everybody has someone to talk to or someone that cares about them. So those are all really, really good points that we're touching on here. And I just want to go back to seeing what you guys think, if there's anything else you would like to add about how to cope with anxiety, stress, and negativity. What is anxiety? I'm always asked that question, like, how would you define anxiety, and what does that look like?
I think it might be different for many people, but again, I go back to the fact that it's usually either environmental or situational. Something triggers anxiety. Something, a thought, something someone says. It's sort of like, for me, it's my body tensing up, and sometimes my brain gets cloudy. I'm unsure of myself. But that's why I fall immediately into the breathing. When I realize this is going on. And Eric mentioned something earlier on that about centering. There's an exercise that I do that's called centering. Actually, people have different names for it. I call it centering, where I'll start with top of my head, and just feeling with my mind, the top of my head, and work my way down to my body and back up. And that brings me in. That takes me away from whatever is causing the anxiety, and by the time I'm done, I'm actually able to start thinking more clear. So
Yeah.
and it's just whatever it's whatever ties me up in knots is what I look at. Um, so centering, breathing, you know, and if you don't know what to do after that, reach out and call somebody.
Mm.
Talk to somebody, your wife, your son, anyone you think that will listen.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I feel like another thing that popped up in my head too for me was running. I enjoy running, and that does help me cope a lot. Even if it's just a mile, like you said, Eric, you run a mile a day, and that's incredible. And I've practiced that too. This week, I've ran a mile every day of the week. So 3 days in a row now, I've ran just 1 mile. But that endorphin rush after I run, it really is like a positive feeling, and it alleviates all the negativity and all my stress. And then I kind of move into my day with some positive momentum, you know? I think it's huge that we're learning so many different tools and skills that we can use to combat this negativity. So what else would you like to add, Eric?
Oh, well, anxiety for me is triggered when I focus on the future, because I always like, for example, when I practice with like college kids and stuff, and I'm in 8th grade, and that can be very anxiety like
Provoke.
inducing for me.
Mm,
So on the way, it's a long drive. I live in South Los Angeles, and it's all the way. I don't know if you guys know where that is, but Woodland Hills, it's in the valley. It's very far, like an hour and a half. And I usually focus on what I'm going to do there, which is very anxiety inducing for me. But for me, what helps, I focus in the moment and just like lock in, get in the mind frame. My therapist had me create a music playlist that gets me in the mindset for what I'm about to do, right? So I have a playlist for homework. I have a playlist for practice. I have a playlist for stuff, and it just really helps me. I focus on music, which it helps a lot.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's huge. Go
I,
ahead, Mike.
I don't run. I would love to run. I used to love to run, but I am walking. I kind of slowed down. I have to get back to it. But I tell you what, I really like to do. I'm a little different. I put on my headphones. I have a walking playlist, and everything is upbeat. And when I'm walking, I'm actually dancing. So I tend to do my walking about 5:30 in the morning, where there's not a lot of people out there, seeing me, get my
Right.
move on.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I'm done, I usually do over 2 miles. I come in and I'm still dancing when I come into the house, and I go into the bedroom where my wife is at, and I'm still dancing. It makes her laugh. And
Yeah.
so that's just great cardio, and to make it fun, because it can be boring, and it can actually cause more anxiety because you're not really into it. So this is the way I do it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's huge. And, I want to just recap a little bit in closing for the viewers, the audience, that to combat stress, anxiety, and negativity, you want to isolate yourself from that negativity, magnify your positivity, everything that you have accomplished recently or throughout this year, something positive in your life that you have accomplished, and focus on that and magnify it. And, we're using running, we're using walking, we're using dancing. I really love your point, Eric, of just like, not being so anxious and focusing so much on the future, but focusing more on the present moment and the now, because the present moment, isn't it the best gift? And gifts are going to come up next week for Christmas and stuff like that. We're talking about gifts. The biggest gift we have is the present moment. So let's focus on that moving forward, and share this with somebody around you. And let's cope and let's heal from anxiety, stress, and negativity. Again, I'm your host, Justin Martinez. Thank you so much, Mykel Gayent. Thank you so much, Eric Dory, I'm very excited for you, young man. You're very intelligent, and thank you for all the positive insight. And if you want to visit more of our website and see more of our content, please visit mentalhealthca.org, and we will be posting more of these BB Youth Chat videos, and we're very excited about the series. Until then, next time, brother, be well.